Hey, David. Just looking at the standings, is there any more relevance attached to this game Sunday night, or what's your take on that?
It's definitely a big one. It's for it's pretty much for the division. To be ahead in the division, and that's kind of that's kind of how we see it.
So there's no getting around that, huh?
No.
Next question's from Amy Just.
I'm curious, how different does this team look compared to when you were preparing for them for week 1 compared to now?
Week 1 definitely was a little different. You didn't have no preseason film on certain teams, and you weren't able to see what their tendencies and all were. But now you've kind of teams are kind of getting in their groove, and you're starting to see certain things. So I'll say that's a difference.
Next one's from Nick Underhill.
David, it's looked like you've been playing really well and really consistent. Do you feel like you yourself have worked into a group where your mental ability and your physical abilities kind of match, and you're playing as good as you have since entering the league?
I've just been playing ball at the highest of my ability, so that's just how I go out there every day to play as hard as possible, and that's the mindset I have towards it.
Next one's from Amos Morale.
Yeah, I know you guys have that streak of stopping, opposing runners from getting to 100 yards, and I was just curious how much that's on you guys' mind as you're out there preparing for teams, particularly teams like this where they have some good backs.
I think we just take accountability of stopping the run, and I don't think we think about it that much going into certain weeks. I think we just go out there and play ball. That's what it is.
Next one's from Craig Loper.
Hey, Dave, just Tom Brady has kind of made a living with his quick release, kind of quick passing game throughout his career. I'm curious, as a defensive line, knowing that, how much more is that interior pass rush against a guy like Brady to get him off his spot?
You're not going to get there every time, especially when you have a guy who releases the ball pretty fast. You could do certain things. You could have your hands up, in the interior, and definitely try and get maybe a batted ball to, certain things. There are other ways you could still attack a quarterback who throws the ball quick.
Next one's from Mike Triplett.
David, how much of a wrinkle does Antonio Brown add into the game planning this week, since it'll be his first game with a new team that he hasn't played on before?
It's just like week 1. You haven't actually seen the person with the team, and you haven't seen because to an extent, so many things. It plays. Well, how do I put it? The connection, you haven't seen that, so I can't really say much about it right now. It's just, once game day comes, and we'll go from there.
Next one's from Taylor Allen.
Hey, David, this is Taylor Allen from the Winnipeg Free Press. You're one of the very few Manitobans who are even playing football right now. There's no high school football here. There's no Bison's football, no CFL either. So does your heart kind of go out to some of the people back home who aren't able to play football? And have you been able to talk to maybe some former teammates or Coach Stobie to talk about the situation going on right here?
I saw a couple guys, it's like a flag football league they got going on out there right now. So there's still guys, trying to, still in the game right now out there. I know a couple guys who play in the CFL actually, and it's pretty tough not having a job for an entire year. That's I don't even know how to explain that. It'll be really tough going through something like that.
And for you,
All right, we're all set. Thank you, David.
All right.
All right, everybody. We have Alvin Kamara here. Please put your questions in the chat.
All right, Alvin, your first question's from John Asasia.
Oh. How you doing, Alvin?
Oh, good.
they're a really good run defense. What concepts do you see them employing to be able to stop the run the way they do?
I think the fact that what makes them a good run defense is their back end. They got an active back end that's pretty smart and plays the ball well and is pretty disciplined. So, that gives their front the ability to go ahead and kind of cut it loose and be able to play and feel good about, rushing and kind of stunting up front and making some moves up front to disrupt the run because they know in the back end they're covered. So, they do a plethora of things that allow them to be able to be good against the run.
I know you said when you're playing against a team like this, you have to be patient, and sometimes that 3-yard run is about as good as it's going to get. But do you feel like it's one of those situations where if you just chip, you'll get what you're looking for if you just chip away at it?
Yeah, I mean that's with anything. We stay committed to what we want to do. That's with game planning and scheming and just watching more film and finding what's comfortable for us and not deviating from that. You don't abandon. We're not going to abandon the run game because they're a good run team, run defense. We're gonna do what we got to do, and just keep chipping away. We'll get what we want as far as chunk runs go.
Next one's from Craig Loper.
Hey, Alvin, just kind of piggybacking off that, kind of a two-parter, specifically their linebackers. Just can you speak to just their level of athleticism? They're kind of considered some of the best in the league. And then just your career numbers against Tampa Bay. I think it's 7 games, 800 yards and 9 total touchdowns for you. Is there something, I know it's a divisional opponent, but is there something to that, playing the Bucs for you that is extra or anything like that?
Oh, all right. So I'll just answer the first part. Their linebacker core is great. Those guys, they run well, they cover well, they tackle well. They're smart players. They make a lot of plays. So, just being aware of what they're doing within the defense. That a lot of their big plays go through them. So, just doing things to kind of throw them off and try to affect them in our game plan is definitely something we look to do. And then the second part of your question, just playing Tampa, just having the success that I've had over the years. It's a division opponent. That's the cliche thing to say. We see them twice a year. But, it is what it is. I look to go into every game and try to excel and do what I have to do to put us in position to win. I've seen them enough, obviously, so it's just it is what it is. I kind of just try to do whatever I can. So, that's how those stats are kind of pulling up.
Next one's from Rod Walker.
Hey, Alvin, when we talked to Bruce Arians this morning, he compared you to Marshall Faulk. What does it just mean to you when you hear things like that, those kind of comparisons?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what he said. I didn't see it. This is the first time I'm hearing that, but so obviously, I guess I'll just say respect, and Marshall. I mean, I didn't grow up in that era, but I watched, and to be compared to a player of that caliber is definitely an honor, and it's just like I said, just an honor, just to be kind of placed in that category. That's all I gotta say about that.
Alvin, do you feel like the second part of that, do you feel like you're having an MVP type season?
What?
An MVP type season?
I don't give myself. I don't know. I leave that up to whoever votes on it.
Next one's from Amos Morale.
Yeah, I know yards after the catch has been a big theme for you this year. I guess, is that something you've kind of consciously focused on, or has it just been a byproduct of sort of the plays you've been making?
I think that's been a part of my game since I've been in this league. I'm maybe more this year than other years, but I've always felt like I do a pretty good job of advancing after the catch, after contact, and just little things in the passing game. I feel like I pride myself on that. And it's not new.
Next, Jeff Duncan.
Hey, Alvin, it's kind of a big picture question. I know you're kind of hyper-focused on the Bucs right now, but I'm just curious where you're at in your career right now, how great things are going for you this season. Do you look back on your path to where you're at now any differently? I mean, would you say your college career was a little unconventional to get to the NFL? Would you change anything now, or do you think that kind of led faithfully to where you're at now?
I think it definitely led and everything lined up perfectly to put me in the position I'm at right now. So to answer your question, hell no, I would not change nothing that happened. It was all a learning experience. It kind of made me who I am today, molded me, shaped me into, the player that I've become. And, there's still things that I pull from those experiences and kind of just, take with me, tough days, long days, hard days, just battling with certain little things. I just know, like, man, I've been through so much. I've been through harder scenarios. I've been through a lot. I've been through a little bit of it all. So, it makes it all worth it. So I wouldn't change anything.
And how content are you right now? I mean, for so long, it seems like you were underutilized, undervalued, maybe even underappreciated. And it seems like it's all the exact opposite of that. Now you got the contract, having a great season, and so forth.
Never content. Always working, striving to evolve, and like I've said, I feel like I say this every week, but anything I could do to help this team win, that's what I've always been about and been trying to do. So, obviously having production this year, having a good season, having a healthy season, thank God. But I just want to keep going and keep adding things to my repertoire, keep producing for this team, so we can do what we got to do to be where we want to be at.
Thank you.
Next one's from Mike Triplett.
Alvin, first of all, we didn't see you out at practice today. A couple reports that it should be a minor foot injury. Can you shed any light on if you expect to play Sunday?
Oh yeah, I'm playing on Sunday. You ever stub your toe like on the corner of a bedpost or something?
All the time. I have 3 kids.
Yeah, that's kind of like what I'm dealing with. So that's tough. It's like sucks. Yeah, that shit hurts. So I'm fine. I'll be out at practice tomorrow. Just more maintenance than anything.
I also wanted to ask, obviously we don't know for sure when Michael Thomas will play again, but the offense has done pretty well without him.
Mm-hmm.
What specifically do you think he really adds that'll make this offense even better when him and Emanuel Sanders are back?
Man, I think without even giving him the ball, you have to account for Mike Thomas. When he lines up, you got to account for him. That's what defense is an anticipating game. They got to anticipate what's going to happen when Mike Thomas is on the field. So just flat out, without even giving him the ball, when 1-3 is on the field, he presents a threat. And obviously when you put the ball in his hands and you get him moving around and running how he's used to running and doing the things he's used to doing, I mean, it's not many players, many defenses that can stop him. So obviously, like I've said before when this question gets asked, love to have him out there, when he's out there and healthy. But, this game is about your health. So it's just him, fighting and getting back to 100% so he can do what he's used to doing. And, we can't wait to have him back.
Next one's from Luke Johnson.
Hey, Alvin, you had that big long gain on that, I think it was a choice route against the Bears. What did you kind of see that set that play up? And what kind of goes into running those routes so successfully for you?
A lot of film study, a lot of, if you ask Sean, I think it's a feel route. You obviously got to know the coverage, but it's a lot of feel that goes into that. And, just on that particular play, Khalil Mack was kind of in a wide 9 technique, and when the ball was snapped, as I kind of wide released, he dropped and kind of expanded. So the inside was butt naked. The linebacker expanded and he expanded. So, I just was a little bit patient and gave him some eyes and looked at him a little bit and broke in. And, he's a great player, one of the best in the league, if not the best. But, I'll take me, running the route against him any day.
Next one's from Doug Mouton.
Yeah, hey, Alvin, I was actually going to ask you about that exact same play because Sean Payton gave a really cool explanation of it the other day. On that route, so you made that decision after the snap that you were going to pick that route, right? And when you do that, how often are you and Drew on the same page?
I think we about 10 for 10. I'll take us on that route, any day. I think just running it the past 4 years and, just compiling a whole stockpile of just different looks and different scenarios, 2-minute scenarios, first quarter scenarios, third, fourth quarter. Up in the game, down in the game, gotta have it, and let's get it. So, I think me and Drew kind of got the time on task that we have. It's a high success rate when we call that play. So, whatever Sean said, I know he probably had a whole monologue for you about it. I'll just say, we kind of do what we got to do when the play is called.
Last question's from Catherine Terrell.
Hey, Alvin, can you describe to us what C.J. Gardner-Johnson is like in practice? I mean, we all know he likes to talk, so I always just kind of picture him as like the motor mouth all through practice. Is that how he is at all?
Let me see. Let me give an analogy. You got a friend that like you would want to be with you when you get into a fight?
Yeah.
All right, bye.
The injury report just came out and said you had a shoulder injury. Is there anything you can, I guess, expand on about what you've been dealing with?
I'm always limited on Wednesdays, so it's pretty standard.
Did I noticed you were wearing like tape last week on your shoulder. Is that because of that? Because you're a routine guy, usually you don't change that up.
Hey, I'm 41 years old. I got a lot of stuff going on, but just keep ticking.
Next one's from John DeShazer.
Drew, speaking of 41 and Tom being 43, guys, obviously the veteran quarterbacks, is that a testament to what you guys have been able to do, maintaining that you guys have your teams where you do right now? You know, it's a league where everybody's always kind of looking for the new young thing, and yet you guys are battling for first place in the division.
Yeah, listen, we both play on very good teams for very good organizations, for great coaches and great systems, great players around us. So just grateful for the opportunity to compete, grateful that we're in a situation where we're battling, here in the division.
Next one's from Mike Triplett.
Drew, it's kind of a small sample size, but over the last couple of years, you've been even better against the blitz than years past. Really, terrific numbers against the blitz. Is there anything that makes you just feel really comfortable when teams blitz you, or that you think you're doing really well recently?
Well, typically when teams blitz, they're exposed. It's risk-reward, right? So if you know where to go with the football, you got guys that can get open, you can make big plays.
And that being said, Tampa Bay blitzes more than any other team in the league, and they've had a lot of success with it. Do you almost invite that? Do you hope defenses try to blitz you?
Listen, they're very good at it. You look at them statistically. Obviously, they're just a very aggressive style. That's Todd Bowles, and that's why he's one of the very best. And you can tell those guys play extremely hard for him, and they've got a very good scheme. They've got very good players. They can get after you with the pass rush, whether they're rushing 4 or they're rushing 5 or 6. At the end of the day, they're playing at a high level. They're playing with a lot of confidence.
Next one from Ricardo LeCompte.
Drew, you and Tom, of course, when you're looking at you're right now 1-2 in career touchdown passes. I'm not really going to ask if you're looking at that record or if you're focusing on that, but just as a fan of the game, is it kind of just maybe unique or maybe just absurd that a record like that has been being set and reset almost every week?
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty cool. When in history has that ever happened? Again, I know speaking for myself, I'm just laser focused on the job that is right in front of me and the opportunity that we have this week. And winning the football game is the most important thing, and however we can get that done.
Next one's from Amos Morrell.
Yeah, Drew, you kind of talked about the Tampa defense. Do you think that maybe because of the way Alvin's been performing as a receiver out of the backfield, that might open up some things in the running game, despite the fact that they're, tops in the league run-wise?
Yeah, listen, we want to be a balanced offense. We feel like we are a balanced offense and a very complementary one. And so every element of our offense we want to be effective with. We want to be efficient. And, from game to game, we expect to do a little bit of everything. Now, depending on, the way a team chooses to game plan you or the plan that they have for you, some things may end up working better than others, and maybe you hang your hat on certain things more so than others on any given Sunday. But at the end of the day, I think that's what makes us dangerous as an offense is we've got some versatile players, some guys that can do a lot of things, especially Alvin, and our ability to run the football inside, outside, the screen game, the shot game, the play action, the drop back, the quick game. You combine all that together and you do it fast and execute effectively, it makes you tough to defend.
Next one's from Jack Doucette.
You're on mute.
I'm sorry.
I could see your lips moving, I just couldn't read them.
You're not that good. You're really good, not that good. Drew, for years, Monday Night Football was the game to watch, kind of like the big game of the week. It really looks like it's transitioned to Sunday night. That's the one that everyone's watching, all the hype and everything. even at this stage of your career, is that a little extra juice to prove that, hey, I can still do this while everyone's watching?
Well, I think just the opportunity to compete, regardless of whether anybody's watching or not. You just kind of click in, and there's a job to do, and we're blessed with the opportunity to compete. Love to win, but at the end of the day, just love to execute effectively and put guys in positions to succeed and win. Obviously, winning feels good.
Just one more quick question, Drew. Years back, I remember Reggie Bush almost caught 90 passes in a single season when he was a rookie. How does Alvin compare in terms of a running back who can catch the football and get you first downs on, 3rd and 5 and whatnot?
Yeah, similar in the fact that they're both such dynamic players, such great athletes, such, matchup problems for a defense. Listen, I'd say Tampa has two of the best linebackers in the league, maybe the two best tandem. So those guys are great athletes. They can cover, but for the most part, linebackers can't cover Alvin Kamara, and that's where, as you kind of look at the array of weapons that we have and the way that we spread guys out and move guys around and, the tempo at which we play, at the end of the day, our job is to put those guys in great matchup positions. It's my job to find those matchups and get those guys the ball.
Next one's from Luke Johnson.
Drew, we've seen Alvin run those choice routes with a lot of success this year. What makes him good at that, and how much of that is like preparation and understanding where you got to bend after the play starts?
Well, it takes a guy with great feel, with great patience and understanding and timing. And the great thing about choice routes, as you say, is that you have a three-way go. So in most cases, the defense can't be right.
This one's from John Shazer.
Drew, their ability to be effective in the run-stop game, is that more concept or is it more athlete-player, what they're able to do?
You're saying with them in the run game?
Yes.
Well, they're big, they're physical. Typically 3-4 teams, can set the edge very well because they've got, big, strong bodies outside. Those outside linebacker positions are such hybrid positions in a 3-4. They're typically, bigger and heavier, but are great athletes. So I'd say just their ability to set the edge, to have basically big bodies on the field, that can defend the run and rush the passer, gives them great flexibility.
Next one's from Nick Underhill.
With how good you guys are at running that 2-minute drill, is there a reason you don't do more up-tempo during other times of the game, or is there a benefit to saving that for those, late half situations?
There's a time and place. We've got all kinds of no-huddle packages within the framework of our system, and it's just a matter of when we want to pull them out.
Okay, last question from Brett Martell.
Hey, Drew, just real quick on Mike Thomas and Emanuel Sanders. First, what's it been like playing 6 games without Mike after you'd gotten so accustomed to being able to rely on him? And what were your impressions of Sanders' progression before he suddenly had to go out?
Yeah. Well, I'll start with Mike. Listen, obviously Mike's been such a huge part of this offense for so long, and you always hope that you wouldn't be without him, but obviously, I think that time comes for everybody where, you've got to find ways to win, without a certain guy or maybe a few guys. And, unfortunately, I think in the early going with this season, we've seen that more so than maybe any other year. And so it'll be great to get him back in the lineup. Obviously, we know what he can do. We know the type of matchup he is, and so that's a great thing for us. Emanuel Sanders, man, I couldn't be more impressed with him, just as a teammate and the way he works and the way he practices and our rapport. And, I felt like we were really starting to click, and then obviously he's been out the last 2 weeks. So I think listen, all the young guys stepped up and did a great job in their absence. And I think that's going to serve us well down the stretch, because, man, there might come times where we're going to need everybody again. But to have those two guys back with just their experience and their productivity and their playmaking ability will be good. All right, guys.
Thank you, Drew.